Hello everyone, Dr. Lindsay Bira here, clinical health psychologist, bringing you more mindful minutes, sponsored by Mind Science Foundation to give us all a chance to look at our brains and develop wisdom and develop emotional intelligence, which leads to emotion regulation and all that good stuff. We are activating our frontal lobe. Today is the final part of a 9-part series, so I hope you've tuned in to all of them so far. And it's a little bit of a follow-up from what we were discussing last time. Last time we talked about building compassion and understanding for other people. Today I want to talk to you about building compassion and understanding for ourselves, which is often a lot harder to do than maybe it sounds like initially, because we're often harder on ourselves than we are on other people. If we kind of take a mindful moment here to pause and think about something that you've been really frustrated with about yourself, something maybe that's happened, something that you've been doing, and think about what you've been saying to yourself about yourself. A lot of times this might be like, ugh, I'm so lazy, or I'm so disorganized, fill in the blank, kind of this character flaw and beating yourself up for it. So just kind of think about that and what that feels like. And then think about if this was the other way around, if this was somebody in your life who you care about was doing the last thing, would you call them lazy or disorganized or fill in the blank? Would it be the same? Probably not. We tend to be harder on ourselves than we are on other people. Now, sometimes when we have the bar set high for ourselves, it can help us achieve or work harder or, grow as a person. But a lot of times when that bar is set too high and we have something that happens that we are not happy about, and we have that gap between the reality and, well, the ideal would be up here, the reality would be down here. In this gap of something that we hold as what we wanted to achieve and where we actually are, we can beat ourselves up, and there can be anger, frustration, resentment, shame even, and that's where it just goes too far. Now, last time we did a mindfulness visualization, if you will, about building empathy towards other people. We imagined somebody who is easy to love and what that feels like, and imagining them, kind of doing something wrong and how easy it is to remind ourselves that they're probably doing the best they can given who they are as a person. We imagined somebody who's more difficult to love, maybe somebody who's been irritating us, and we went through the same thing and kind of noticed the difference there. Today, I want to incorporate the self. So we're going to kind of do an extension of that exercise. So join me, we're going to pop right into it. So I want everybody to, first of all, before we close our eyes, just kind of notice where you are. Notice that you're even tuning in here today, what it's like to be tuning in on this video. Notice everything that you've kind of left behind before this moment, and also after this moment, things to come. And with your next deep inhale, as you begin to slow down your breath, I want you to remind yourself that there's nowhere else for you to be, and literally nothing else for you to be doing than exactly this. We've carved out this time for ourselves, and so we are going to take it. Then with your next deep inhale, as we kind of soak everything in visually, our surroundings, I want you to just close your eyes gently, and then notice what it's like to become still, shifting from a state of going and doing to a state of simply observing. If you remember the concept in a previous video of gentle curiosity, you're stepping into that sense of gentle curiosity, noticing all of our senses, all the sounds around us, how they ebb and flow, what it feels like to be sitting here, what it feels like to be filling our lungs completely. And I want you to keep that breath slow and smooth, just like in the other previous video, the power of the breath, just making sure we're slowing down our nervous system through our breath, really spending time to elongate the exhale. I'm going to briefly go through that previous exercise. So in your mind's eye, as we allow the breath to fall in the background, in the foreground of your awareness, I want you to bring up that person who is easy to love. Imagining their face, how they wear their hair, and imagining them messing up in some way and how we would feel, what we might say to them. And also kind of stepping into wishing them well. So may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you ride the waves of life with ease. Noticing what that feels like. And with your next deep breath, just allowing that to fall in the background. And bringing up somebody who is difficult to love, maybe somebody who has been bothering you lately, causing you problems. Just notice who that might be. And bring up their face in your mind. Notice how they usually wear their hair and how they usually make you feel. Also notice if your breath shifts at all whenever we bring up that difficult person. And make sure that breath stays slow and smooth. And imagine them doing something to irritate you and how you feel. Trying to step into a sense of understanding for them, and if that's harder than it was with the last person who's easy to love, and just kind of the differences there, what that feels like. And then with your next deep inhale, I want you to allow that to just kind of dissolve away. And in its place, I want you to bring in an image of yourself. How you usually view yourself, the expression on your face, how you usually wear your hair, and notice what comes up with that. Just be interested in that. And then imagine yourself doing that thing that you always do, that you get so frustrated and can't seem to get on top of. Just kind of imagine that and notice what comes up with that. And with your next deep inhale, reminding yourself also that you're doing the best that you can. Noticing what you usually say to yourself, maybe if you berate yourself. And deep breath, we're doing the best that we can. And notice what it's like when we go back to that person who's difficult to love, wishing them well. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you ride the waves of life with ease. Transitioning to also wishing ourselves well. May we be happy, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I ride the waves of life with ease. Just notice what that's like to give yourself a little compassion. And just kind of as we kind of float between these three people, someone easy to love, someone difficult to love, and ourselves, I want you to remind yourself that any action or reaction makes sense in the context of who somebody is. Three things: genetics, previous experiences, and current stressors. When we can remember those things, then anything that somebody does or anything that we do then suddenly makes a little bit of sense, and we can have a little bit of compassion and understanding for that. Doesn't mean that it's right or helpful or whatever, but we can understand why it happens. Imagine yourself reminding yourself that in those frustrated moments, either with yourself or other people. They're doing the best that they can. I'm doing the best that I can, given my genetics, previous experiences, and current stressors. One last deep breath. Just kind of let it all dissolve away, eyes open, feeling alert and relaxed. Thank you so much for tuning into this 9-session series for mindfulness with Mind Science Foundation. They're doing some very cool stuff this year, so please stay tuned to their events. And I hope that you enjoyed this, and I will see you on a podcast with Mind Science Foundation coming up pretty soon to kind of sum up everything that we did here in this series. So thank you, and continue on mindfully for the rest of your day or evening. All right, take care. See you soon.